Okay, so it's 7:15 on the 29th. And I was thinking about this morning. So we're getting closer because supposedly 217 is supposed to be some big thing. But there was supposed to be stuff happening from the point of 117 up until 217. But I think 217, it seems like it's like, I don't know, a few different things. Like if that's the beginning of the horse fire or whatever, fire horse. And if it's something astrologically, but there's the whole Neptune Aries thing going on that's supposed to be a big change. And definitely there's a lot going on. Like, let's see. Because I feel so weird today. I feel so freaking weird. It's so weird how each day, it's like, I'll say like I feel weird, but each day it's like I feel weirder. It's not like it gets better or worse. I mean, it's not like it gets better or stays the same. It keeps getting more built up. And I don't know if that means worse, but more extreme. It seems more and more weird. I feel so weird. I have a headache again. My nose will not stop running. And even it feels like there's stuff in my eyes. I feel so uncomfortable. It feels so weird. And yesterday I saw this video of this girl, and she was on vacation in Hawaii. And she said, so she did a video, and she said, I feel this weird, she said, I have anxiety and stuff. But she said, I feel something I've never felt before. And she said she was laying on the beach, and every time she'd look out the water, she would see this giant wave coming towards her. And it started making her feel really nervous. And she said that she just feels this impending doom. And then she started looking around at the people, and the people all seemed strange. Like a guy kept staring at her and stuff. And so she just was getting more and more uncomfortable. And then she left and she went to her room, and she was doing this video talking about this impending doom, that she can't get over this impending doom. And she doesn't know if she's being crazy or having anxiety. Because she feels like she needs to cut her trip short. She feels like she just needs to go home. She just needs to get home, which I think that is a pressure inside of us, to go to be where we feel safe or something, because this impending doom is coming. And the thing is, God, my head hurts. In the comments, all these people were saying, either the people were saying, follow your gut, listen to your gut, which is a big sign. Because people used to, when I would say that kind of stuff, people used to think it was weird. Now you see so many people like, listen to your gut, listen to your gut. And then the other thing that was so common in the comments was, we all feel it. We all feel this impending doom. We all feel something's coming. So it's a lot of people feel something is coming. We just don't know, what it is, what's going to happen. But some disasters are already going. Like in Louisiana, their ice storm is really affecting them. And then Nashville hasn't been out of power for like 4 days or something. And I just saw a video where a girl was talking. I kept thinking, how did she get her stuff downloaded? So they have internet, but they don't have power. But she said that she's been calling like senators and governors and trying to get help and stuff, and that nobody's helping. And they're just saying, well, it's not even a national disaster. A whole city is without power, and it's an ice storm. It's a disaster zone. And on one of the aerial footages I saw, it was like down trees everywhere. I saw it from the street view too, just down trees everywhere. And I know like when I was in an ice storm, it was like that. There's down trees, down power lines. It's a fucking mess. And then we were all out of power. One person's video I saw, they were in their house and all the power went out. And they were showing the sky, and they said all this, I mean, they weren't saying, they were showing all these lights like flashing. And it said that was all the transformers going out. So they've got all these transformers going out, I guess. So, I don't even know how long it will take them. And who knows, are they even working on it? Are they just leaving places that just uh, to their own, what is the word? Like to their own devices, their own, like they gotta, I have no idea. And some of these power companies are corporate owned too. And so it's kind of up to them what they do. If they're going to send people out to help. And who knows, because, I mean, the powers that be are wanting to go against us in all the ways they can. So I have no idea. Maybe they'll get it back on today, and then they'll have to start cleaning up the mess. I mean, we have one disaster after another all over the place here. So there was even one video was maybe showing there was a wreck. It was in Louisiana, and there was a wreck on some road. And people who were, been sitting in the thing waiting to pass from this wreck for 2 days. Like, you can't, like, what in the world? Like, you, some of this stuff is so absurd. I can't even believe it. And I don't know if it's like the only way to get to where they're going, if there's no way to turn around, if they can't do some kind of road thing and let people go, like on the flagging system that they put us through all summer. So, yeah, I mean, some of this stuff is just absurd. Are they taking up the whole road and they still can't get them moved? And why in the world wouldn't you start turning people around and turning, like, it's weird. And then also now more about, like, the guy who, what is his name? I think one of the people, so it's Good, and is the other person Sweetie or something? Something. And, you know, they're making this big deal about him being so, an innocent bystander. He's just an innocent bystander. And then they come out and say, oh no, his whole thing is, just like that girl is going against these people. And he had this, and I bet you they're going to turn around and say it was his. It was his that went off. No telling. But I think it's all just a big story. And it's a roller coaster ride because they want us to, it's like, question things ourselves. Because this whole thing, like even with Nicki Minaj. And I was like, so what? What? Some of this stuff is so weird. So, so her to be up on the stage, Donald behind her, and talking about how much she loves him, and you know, screw anybody who doesn't. And I was thinking, well, that's the weird thing too about how following. Like I think that we're supposed to wake up for sure to that whole thing. It just depends on what level you're at. But some people who would be like, well, if Nikki likes him, well, I guess I'm going to like him then. He can't be that bad. And so, or then there'll be also people who will turn against her and say, you know, she's a wackadoo. But I was thinking, I think a lot of people who like her music, are people who don't like the ICE. And so they're trying to get influence over some of those people to get them to recognize, like, you know, maybe I'm going off on something. Maybe I'm going the wrong direction. So, I don't know. I think more of that kind of stuff is going to play out. More weird stuff with Erica. The stuff just gets weirder and weirder. Oh, and then also, now it's not just Erica. Now it's Candace. And she is paid person to also influence us, to get us to be distracted or to lead us down a path. And this person was showing all of these pictures of Charlie, and he's doing all those hand gestures, all of the ones that they say, like, this certain group does these hand gestures all the time. Him even doing like this thing, which they say is 666. And it's like, I don't get it. I mean, like, a lot of people will do that, like, okay. But then, and that's weird too. Like if it was representative of 666, which these people are just wacky religious fanatics. So if they want to do that, and then they get us to all do, okay, because that was, man, that was common. Like, I don't know if people still do it all the time, but man, when I was a kid, people did that all the time as a hand gesture. Okay, gotcha. And then, so now, I mean, and there's all these pictures of him doing it. And so then, you know, this whole thing, it's even real. Her stepsister has come out and said she didn't even have kids. That's all made up, which there was already, you know, a lot of us having speculation on that because, you know, where's your kids anyways? Like through this whole thing, you're just on tour. And now Candace has released audio of her saying if anybody needs more time to deal with their pain over losing Charlie. Oh, high-pitched sound is in my ear. Then you got to take your personal time off. You got to take your PTO and use it. It's like, get over it. Charlie would want this for us. Charlie would say, get out there and get to work. Oh my God. It's so weird. All this stuff is so weird. You know, I don't know if this is like how they're trying to break down religion. What was it I saw yesterday? Something on religion. It was, oh yeah, this person. They were saying, what if the whole thing behind religion was just to get people to focus on some higher being forgiving them, and so that would build up their like ego, which we've seen that, and to make them think like they don't have to work on anything. They can just be like, well, I'm forgiven, which all the stuff she was saying, I was saying, I think that's true. I don't know if that's the only reason, because I think that they also, it's about control, but it is like a false kind of thing to keep, like, to make you think like, you know, you're forgiven by this holy man, Holy Spirit, and so you don't have to work on yourself or, you know, get forgiveness from anybody else. You know, you got the big man, he's got you. So it does really, you know, build up stuff in people's ego. So I don't know. I think that there's a lot of stuff about religion. What is it, dude? So Archie is just like all over the place. Got Stella, got him sleeping. Ruthie, kind of sleeping. Man, I swear to God. As soon as we got done yesterday, she just was going crazy. She was going crazy through most of the live anyways. But then she was going crazy. Oh my God, she goes so crazy. And she was even, Stella was sitting over there, and Ruthie started jumping all over me, and she wouldn't stop. She's trying to like get on top of me, and she just becomes super hyper focused. So you can just see it in her eyes where she just becomes dead set on something. And I keep pushing her down, pushing her down, pushing her down, lifting my knee, standing up, trying to do everything. It's like, man, when Stella was little, and she would be doing something, all I'd have to do is stand up, and she would sit down. Not Ruthie. Like, she's just like, oh, we're doing this? Okay, let's go. She'll jump up in the chair and try and get on me. And it's like when Stella is trying to get her, she'll jump up on the bed, she'll jump on a chair, she'll try and do anything to get higher than you. And which I would think, like, for having a guard dog, you know, you'd want one that's, you know, thinking things, you know. But right now is an impulsive puppy that's out of control all the time. Which, that's the thing, is even with the training, I can't train her personality away. You know, I can try and get her better behaved and try and get her to stop jumping on me and stuff. But yeah, I can't make her be a totally different personality. And but anyway, so she's going crazy, and Stella's just sitting over there, and then Stella jumped up. Stella was like, hell no, you're not messing with my mom. And Stella went after her, but Ruthie just looks at it as games and fun. And then and she doesn't stop. She just keeps on going and going and going and going. And Stella, I did a few videos to show, but and their tails are always wagging. That's the thing, is like I'm watching the body language and seeing if it's getting too serious. But Stella tries to tell her, show her who's, knock it off. And the trainer had told me that the mama dogs will do like this hit into their neck. And so I think that that's what Stella tries to do, is hit her, like, stop it. And so she, once it, well, I don't know, it didn't get calm for a while, but she did come over, and she had like a little blood right here and then a little blood right here. So I think as she's jumping up, because she just jumps, she'll just jump right into you. Like, sometimes I'm just like, you'd think she would get hurt and stop. She doesn't. She'll just keep jumping into you and jumping into you. The only thing is that sometimes when she keeps trying to jump on me, she does get tired, because I keep on pushing her back and pushing her back and pushing her back, and telling her to stop and telling her to stop. But but I was thinking, I think she probably hit into Stella's tooth, and she keeps jumping into her. But it wasn't like a big thing or whatever, but still, it was just like, God, even though it's going to be cold as hell to go out there and do this training with her this morning, I hope that we get somewhere. I mean, they're going to do a prong collar on, and he said that thing about the prong collar. This is why he was telling me about the mother hitting into the neck. He said because it's, when it tightens on their neck, it does this little like pinch thing. Like when I did Stella's training and Lucy's, they also, at the training place, they were all about the prong collars, and put the prong collars on when they're learning, and then they pay better attention, because when it pushes into their neck, it's like something that they've had done ever since they were a baby puppy, and it's supposed to get their attention. So anyways, they're going to use the prong collar, and then they say, if it's up to you if you want to go into the shock collar thing, which I don't really want to do the shock collar, but there's a bunch of people who have. And my brother, on his, when they did the training, the trainer had him put the shock collar on him so he could feel, and he said, yeah, it's not like a shock. He said it's like a little thing that's like a little zzz that get your attention, but he said it doesn't hurt. And you could pay attention, I guess, to how much you turn it up, so then you put it on yourself or whatever. But I don't want to do shock. I think the prong collar will do. We'll see. I mean, she's super smart, and she is like very treat motivated, that's for sure. And she also does, like, you're a good girl. That's one thing that sometimes just sets her off. I tell her she's a good girl, she goes insane. Yeah, so Archie, what are you doing? God, I have a headache. God, I feel weird. And okay, let me think for a second. This created a big trigger for me, and I think the person wasn't trying to create a trigger for me, but it's weird because you have these things that like none of us know what somebody else's experience is. So anyway, somebody was telling me yesterday at the live that this person talks about the same things I talk about, and so I had written down the name of their channel, and so I went and looked it up later after the calmness. And so I went and looked it up, and I was like, oh my God, this person has 65,000 followers. They're talking about the same thing I am, and they have 65,000 followers. They've been doing it for like 11 months, and they have 400 videos. This is my 6th year. I have I probably got to 2,200 this week. It's like 2,190 something right now, and 3,400 videos, and almost 600,000 views, and but yeah, all this time I've been doing this, and I've got less than 2,200 followers. In all those videos and all that time I put into it. Do you need to go outside? What is your problem? He already went outside once. So I'm telling you, everything is weird. And my dreams last night were so weird. But anyways, so I was just like, oh my God. I was just feeling like, what am I doing? Why am I even doing this? And, obviously, I'm going in the wrong direction. And so this voice inside is always trying to get me to feel defeated, to give up. And so Archie, will you please stop? God, normally he's not the one that's causing me all the problems in the morning. And come over here. What are you doing? So anyways, this is the thing. This constant this negative force that is like over me like a cloud or something. But it starts feeding into those feelings. It starts telling you things. It starts telling you, like, the voice starts going, because it's like, ooh, got him by the hook now. So they're going to do everything they can to beat you down and then push you to want to just give up. Like, what's the point? And keep making it like, oh, look, they're great. And so I was feeling like crappy about it, which Dwayne from Tennessee says, hi, Crystal. So I texted Crystal, and I was like, telling her my irritation about, like, how does this person get 65,000 followers and I'm struggling over 6 years to get 2,000. And because I don't know if my shadow banning has to do with the whole Twitter incident and this Secret Service coming out. I don't know. I mean, I know I've watched them mess with my videos for so long. And right now, I'm on my TikTok. I've got a video that has 0 views, 0. But a lot of people are having a whole weird thing on TikTok because that changed over to the American Buyer. Now the American Buyer is coming out and apologizing for all of the mishaps and whatever's going on. It's all part of the show, I swear to God. So anyways, the Archie, come over here and stop it. So anyways, she was like, a friend, and talked to me about it and stuff. And then I felt, like, okay. But she said she follows that channel and she watches them. And it's one of those channels that all talks to chat, to the GPT. And I've been saying for months, ever since I started hearing people talking to their chat GPT and all these people doing these channels talking to their chat, I've been saying that they are saying the same thing as I said. I've been saying this stuff for years, and now chat's coming out and saying this stuff that I have been saying for years. And it's kind of, weird if you're somebody who's just like listening to the whatever you want to call it, the communication outside of our realm, outside of most people's awareness, is that it tells you the stuff. And so I've been talking about it. And then, and now all these people are getting it from chat, and all these people want to go and listen to what chat is saying. It's like they trust the computer, and the computers could be programmed. I mean, I could be programmed. I've even said that before. I said, how do I know? Like, but anyways, it's weird. So anyways, she was telling me about that's what they talk about. And it is just like, man, it's so crazy, because there was another person. I mean, she had told me before about another person also who I also know she is off TikTok. And she switched over to YouTube and did the same thing. A huge amount of, like, all these people tune in. There's so many channels that do talking to the chat. And so many, people tune in to see what the chat's saying, which any of us can talk to chat ourselves and ask questions ourselves, which is also an issue. And that's why those one ladies started telling her the truth about the misinformation or something that it's purposely giving on to us. It's like, that's a whole thing too. And so so I don't know. I mean, but anyways, I was feeling like just like down, and then it just kept being like this negative voice comes and just keeps kicking you and kicking you. And then it's just like, what am I doing? Why am I? Maybe it's time to just give it up and move on with my life. And then I have to talk myself back out of there. You know, I have to pull myself back out of that hole that they want to bury me in. On YouTube this morning, then there was a girl who I saw her video, and she I don't know how old she was. She was younger, but she said so. She had started in the music industry. I think she was 19. She could have been 17. She was young. And they were making all these promises because she had this good song or something. And so they made all these promises and stuff. But then they just started having her write songs for people. And all her songs were becoming hits. And they just kept her in a loop where, oh, yeah, we're going to give you a deal. But then they just kept taking her songs and giving them to these other people. And she didn't say which girl band it was, but it had to be like either Spice Girls or Pussycat Dolls, I'm assuming. But that she was writing all of their songs, and they kept having all these hits because they were her songs. And she was getting used by the industry, and then it's a whole long thing. But her message was she's going to she's going to go in her direction now. She's done with their manipulation and their control, and the whole thing of them beating you down and stuff like that. And she was saying, don't give up on yourself. Don't give up on yourself. Keep going, keep going. And it was weird because it was like a message from the positive to kind of go against the message of the negative, because the negative would keep trying to tell you, give up, give up, give up. And that's the thing about when you're trying to go on the path towards your best self, there is, something that trails behind you, that everything that happens will try and just pull you down and tell you to give up, and get back to where you were. Don't be crazy. And she talked about that too. And this force that wants to keep you down in the dark. And then you have this other one that's trying to pull you forward. And it's like, if you think about like your higher self trying to pull you forward to the best version of yourself, to the possibilities of success and stuff like that. And you got to keep going in that direction, even though you don't know what it leads to. What are you doing? Why don't you just come over here? Body's acting weird. Everything is so weird right now. So anyways, that was my battle this morning, or yesterday too. But it is like, and fuck if I know, man. All I know is that I've been being told things since I was a little kid, since I was 3, and I don't know. I can see things, I can hear things, and so, but if this realm is lying about everything, but to me it seems real. The stuff I say, like the dimensions, the beings, and all of that, in the world being so different than what they tell us, and this is all fake. And I think it's right, and they've been telling me this stuff since I was little, so it's all been like leading up to this. So anyways, but the Grok, who was saying that the computer is lying to the people, it said it's not like it's purposely lying. It is being it's like a feedback system. And you'd have to go and listen to her whole thing. It's a whole long thing. It's like she does it in several parts, because she started recognizing like he was saying stuff, and she started questioning, like, why are you saying this? Why are you not telling me the truth? And he started telling her all of this stuff, where it was like, oh my gosh, that's kind of scary. It means there is so many people who totally trust the computer. They totally trust. Dude, come over here. What is your deal? You might get to hear him start singing, because he does do that. Don't know what his deal is. If he thinks he can't get past them, because Max is laying here, Ruthie's laying there, and he's over there like pacing around and having a fit. Stella's up on the bed. I don't know what your fit is. I don't know what you're doing. You can hop right over them. You can jump right over them. This is what he does in the middle of the night if he has to go out and go to the bathroom. There. Now, you're over here. Now, are you okay? Was it that hard? God, what in the hell? He just walked right. What is going on? Everything is so weird. We got to be getting close to everything falling apart. And one thing, in Crystal's comment last night, and she was like, I don't want to go back to, us having to grow our own food and having to go out and hunt for ourselves and make our own clothes. It's like going back to the primitive days, which this was my friend in Australia. We had this conversation years ago, and she's like, I don't want to go back to that time. And the thing is I don't see it as like we're going back to this primitive time. What it is, we're going to a more technology. So we're going to go to a more highly sophisticated time, but we're going to go into a place of independence. And it's like we went through the dependence phase. We went through this phase of being dependent on these people, a corporation, their whole system. We have a dependence on them. And that's what's so hard for people to break free from. But it's like dependence. It's an absolute dependence of, how do we function without them? How do we get food without them? How do we, we depend on them, and then they have shown what that blows up into. They take advantage of our dependence. And so we're moving out of dependency into independent. But that doesn't mean, there's already people who are growing their own food and stuff. But I have been saying for a while, I think we're going to change everything about how we eat. I don't think we're going to be eating like how we do. I think it could go like in the Jetsons, where you just go and you take this pill and it's like you ate a cheeseburger. It gives you the feeling you ate a cheeseburger, and you get all your nutrition from this little pill, all the minerals and stuff that you need. I think but we could go through a period of time where, because it's already started, where people are growing their own food. And so, but I definitely, in the new world, I don't think we're going to be killing animals to eat them. I don't think that's going to be a part of it. I don't see that being a thing, because we are also in the circle of life. We are being eaten by somebody else. We're breaking out of that, and we can't keep consuming other beings for our gratification unless we're in that circle of, the circle of life or whatever it is. So we're breaking out of that. So we're not going to continue us eating other things and us not being eaten. And so we're breaking out. So I think we're going to go into a time where we're not going to be eating other animals and stuff. And we're going to have new technologies or something that's going to be different of how we get our nutrition. And the whole thing too is it's a mindset. It's a program that they told us, and they've redone it throughout, decades. If you've been around for decades, you've seen them tweaking this program of how we're supposed to eat, what we're supposed to eat, their time. They have us on like a time, what is that called? Like a feeding time. They have us on feeding times. And so, and I think that's the buildup of like certain things that they're trying to make us sick with. And so they need us to consume them at regular times. And so I think when we get down to it, like at the time of like the med beds or something, we're going to start seeing like we don't need to eat. Our bodies don't need all that. And even the people who have been doing all this fasting have been figuring that out, that their bodies don't need all this food that they've been telling. My problem is still that I get hungry, but definitely my food intake has changed a lot, because I used to eat like a whole meal, and now, like I was saying yesterday on the live, now, like French fries, I make French fries and I call it, my lunch. And then in the morning is when I eat more. And I eat, like I've been trying to switch it up, but, um, but I was for a long time is Danishes, cookies, muffins. And the dogs always want to eat with me. So we English muffins, toast. So we'll eat stuff in the morning. And then sometimes I'll make a whole breakfast with eggs and stuff. And then we will later on, I'll make something like French fries, or one thing I eat a lot of is peppers with cheese. So I cook peppers and then I put cheese in them and then put salsa over them. And then one of the things I was eating, like those bagged Chinese Asian salad things, only I was cooking them. And then with noodles and stuff. And I do have some edamame noodles that I'm going to make this cream cheese sauce. And so yesterday I made grilled cheese with, and I had an apple, which is totally different for me. I would have eaten chips. But then the, what was I going to say? And sometimes I would make tomato soup and have grilled cheese. But there was something else I was going to say about the food thing. But I keep changing. Oh, yeah. When I go to Costco to get my, my kombucha, because they have the best deal on the kombucha, because you can get 8 of them for $13.39 or something, which some of the stores is like $4 a bottle. So yeah, it's way cheaper. So I go to Costco and get theirs, and I'll get one of their big pizzas. It's like $10, and you get like, I don't know, 10 pieces of pizza. And so and then I'll wrap those up and freeze them. So then I have like a quick thing I can make to eat. Oh yeah, I have some of those thawed out in the fridge. That's probably what I'll eat today. And the dogs always eat some of that with me. So, anyways, then later in the day, because my thing is like eating when the sun's coming up, is later in the day, then I will eat more of, like some, these things. I'll show you because I was showing it yesterday. These edamame beans. So I'll eat some of these, or sometimes I'll have like a cookie with tea. Or one day I had like a muffin, because I have these muffins that I had bought on sale at Safeway, and I did the same thing, wrap them up and put them in the freezer. And so, and I have a horrible sweet tooth. I really like chocolate and stuff. So I don't know, I mean, I still get hungry, but like I don't go and make a big dinner and eat a big dinner. And I usually in the afternoon I just have some kind of snack. But I was in, I don't know, I think it was some monk or something talking about we shouldn't even be doing all these snacks because it does something with our body and stuff. And I know fasting is better. And I know, trying to skip times of eating, but like I said, I keep getting hungry. But I do think that we're going to go into something. I don't know if it's like once we go through the med beds that our body heals in some way and it doesn't trigger us to be hungry all the time or what. But yeah, there's no way. I don't think we're going to, but even if you think like if we did start having these little nutrition pills or something, that would still be somebody would be making them and we would be buying them. So I don't know. I just don't, I 100% don't think that we are going to be reliant. This is the this is the corporation going down. It's going down the toilet. And so, in this whole thing of our dependency in this game, or this storyline that we've been playing out, is like the dark side of being dependent, and it's playing out on all these things. It's like, you're dependent on, narratives, and Nikki comes in and flips that narrative. You're dependent on all these different narratives the news tells and all this. So we're breaking out of this whole dependency. People are dependent on relationships that suck because they just don't want to be alone, which I don't know. I think I had a little bit of that before, but then once you go and you break through, then it's like you aren't alone. You're never alone. But you do face yourself, and you face, but it's weird because there's a lot of people who feel very alone when they're not with a crowd of people. But it's like, I don't know. There's like, so it's like the communication is more noticeable. It's louder. So it's, I don't know. I think it's a positive. And, but there's lots of people who fear it. They fear being alone. They fear of, never finding love, never finding somebody. Like, it drives a lot of people's like panic gear. They become desperate. And so those things are all breaking down. That's why you got to look at these different sides of yourself, like your desperate, needy side, so that you can heal those wounds and not feel this need to be dependent on whatever the situation is. But that's a huge thing that we're breaking through as human beings, is breaking out of dependency. That's the whole breakdown of religion, this dependency on a savior that's going to take away your pain and suffering. It's like, no, you have to do it yourself. You have to heal yourself. You have to face yourself. That's where you really get rid of your pain and suffering. The other is an illusion, and it is a dependency. And then in that dependency, it drives the ego. And that's where people in this situation that's going on, the ego becomes very out of balance. And that's where I can see, even when the negative is trying to talk to me, they go straight for your ego. So that's where you gotta, have more awareness, because your ego is like what they use to break you down, to control you, to break you down and stuff. So you gotta be aware. But that's the thing of like how everybody's so out of balance, and where you gotta get your ego more in balance, because you gotta find balance. But yeah, we're breaking out of this whole dependency. It's played out in so many different ways in humanity. And it was a period of time. It was time to witness, to experience what is it to be dependent. And in a realm like this, it is used against you. And I just saw a sad video. I've seen a lot of sad videos lately. There's a lot of sadness going on out there. A lot of tragedy, a lot of bad things are happening every day. Even if it's not something you see in your own life, it's happening all around us, which feeds into the energy of the planet, feeds into the energy of change. But this was like a younger kind of girl. I guess she would be like 40 or something. I mean, maybe there's no way she was 50. I mean, she could have been like late 40s or whatever, but her mom was 70. So I don't know if she was like a late, one of those kids that she had later in life. But she had taken her mom to get a colonoscopy. And her mom went in, got the colonoscopy, went home, and she said she was a total healthy 70-year-old. And so she took her home, and the lady was having tons and tons of pain, which they should immediately go to the ER. And so they called up the place, and they said, oh, it should go away. Just eat some crackers. And so they tried to push it for, I don't remember how much longer. I think they ended up going to the hospital like at 6 p.m. and went to the ER. Except she has a perforation, and she has been leaking stool into her body, into the cavity of her body. And that's toxic. It's septic. And so now she's on life support. And, she went to go get this test, and she was healthy. I was like, medical isn't here to make us better. It's here to, destroy us, take us out. And and the thing is like, I've worked before in that arena of the colonoscopy thing. That might have been one of because when I first got out, because when I was still in the nursing school, I worked on the, when I was first in nursing school, I worked in the lab. Then I worked on the cancer floor. And then I wanted out of the cancer floor. And, but the hospitals go through these things where they'll be like desperate for workers, and then there's like no jobs. And so it was when we graduated, it was at one of those periods of times where there was like no jobs. And so some of us went to work in like offices, and I went to work in a place that did colonoscopies. And so so I am aware of some of that stuff. And when a doctor creates a perforation, they know. It's like, well, I don't know what this doctor, like, how would he not know? Because if the doctor does a perforation, they immediately call for an ambulance and have the people taken over to the hospital directly, because you got to get surgery to go in and seal it. You got to go in and sew it, and they can't do it in this office. They have to go over to the hospital. And so it's like, how did this doctor not notice that he did that? Like, that's negligent. He's not like, so anyways, that's the thing, is like, so many people just keep going out and trying to get these just like regular things, and it's turning into one disaster after another, just disaster here, disaster there. And that is a part of the push for us to stop playing into their stuff. Their whole thing, it's all shenanigans. The whole thing with the INS, of telling us that, we have to have this and we got to take care of our health, and then telling us how to take care of it. And even the whole thing where they tell all the women, go in and get these tests done on your breast, and then it's been shown, like, when they smash it and stuff, if there's anything in there, it's releasing it. So it's going into the colony, the larvae, and then mushing it out. They create more of it. Even what I was thinking about this morning with my daughter's dog, because she was like, oh, sorry, because I was like talking about Ruthie's personality, and it's like, she's so freaking hyper. And my daughter's like, sorry, I shouldn't have told you, like, what a great, I should have told you more about that. And I bet I could have looked it up for myself. I never in a million years thought about these dogs being so hyper. And but hers, like, she had one, and in the beginning, and some of you guys will remember, because at the beginning of lockdown and all that stuff, he got the diagnosis, and then she was into the medical, and so she went and did all the stuff that they were saying, and which I know tons of people are doing that. And so it was like one thing after another, and all the stuff that they did ended up being what killed him. And I kept saying at the time, like, because at this point I already knew that, get some of the horse face, do this, do that. And I was like, no, that just sounds wacky. I'm going to do what the doctor says. But people just don't realize, like, that's the wacky thing, because they don't even have a clue. I think they said it was in his spleen or something. They took out the wrong thing. Then it created I've talked about this before too, is that it leaves a space. So, and I was telling this to my mom one day. I was saying that it leaves a space when they take parts out of you. She's like, no way. And I was like, yeah, it does. And then I saw some doctor or something talking about it. I was like, see, I told you, it creates a space. And in the dog, it created a space for the for him to get that bowel thing. So he got a twist or whatever. And so anyways, the stuff that they did to try and save it, and it was like a week after he finished his CHEMO. And so all of that he had to go through just to have it end up like that, which, you can't change your storyline. Your storyline is your set storyline. It's what you come into play. And so it was always going to be the way it was going to be. Doesn't matter if you tried to change this or trying to change that, it was still going to have the same outcome. It was still going to be the same. But you learn from all of that stuff. And so, yeah, that's why I was like, if they come back and say they want to start cutting things off of Max, I'm going to say, like, no, I don't want to do that. But anyways, but if you weren't live yesterday, then you don't know what it was and what happened with Max. So I went and got him, and it was like around 2 when I got him. Because I think they put him under anesthesia like at 10:30 or something, and did the films and looked in there and stuff. And so then I went back. They said I could come get him at 2. He was awake and stuff. And so the vet came out and told me that he has tonsillitis. He said he thought it was weird. Everybody who worked there thought it was weird. And I was like, well, is that something like you take out their tonsils? Like, what is that? Because his are so huge, he barely has any room in there. And so that's why he's having such a hard time with swallowing. And he said, no, we're going to do antibiotics and anti-inflammatory and just see how it just resolves itself, because it's odd. It's not common for dogs to get tonsillitis, and it's definitely not that common to get their tonsils removed. So anyways, right now he just has like a little space to be able to swallow in, and his throat's all, so that's also, and he's been going for a while because he started with the drooling, when we were going to the dog park and we'd be walking around, he'd be drooling. So I think he was having a hard time breathing, and where I said, he keeps acting like he's 90 and he's always tired. And then we did the labs. I took him to the vet and got all the labs, and they all came back perfect. But so he just doesn't have very much space to breathe through. So, anyways, but he's on anti-inflammatories and antibiotics. And so we'll see how that works, and how it resolves itself, hopefully. But it seems kind of like a virus to me for tonsillitis. And it seems kind of like, through these different things that create allergies and stuff, that also is a trigger to viruses, which I was thinking even, because what was it? But something else that Crystal was saying too about, she's been seeing all these people talk about this big event that's going to happen where like 90% of people lose their money. And so she was like, thinking it through. And so I was, and then also I had seen something where they had talked about whatever this thing that's going to happen is going to be like 40 million people are going to be gone. So this big disaster thing, something big where all these people feel this impending doom. One thing is I don't feel impending doom. And when I hear people saying like they feel impending doom, then it makes me think, I wonder if they just feel it coming as they're about to exit. But I don't feel impending doom, but I definitely feel like there's something that switches, something flips. And if it is by, this huge amount of loss, which Crystal was saying, if that isn't more of what it is that causes this big financial disaster, is something with a big disaster, something happening. And which also the Simpsons or something talked about razor throat. So I was like, I wonder if they're gonna do something, some kind of something, we're all gonna breathe or something, in that's going to cause some kind of a really bad sickness thing. Like, I think that when we were all freaking about what would happen in 2020, I think that might have been a test. And so if there is something that's coming, and that is going to create the end for a lot, and in this big scenario, and whatever, and if that's not what we're close to, this thing happening, because it all kind of goes together. I definitely have seen that all, like, it all kind of goes together. And so anyways, I don't know what, and it's got to be getting close. But anyways, this morning I was thinking, I wonder if it is some kind of a new sickness that they're going to hit us with. But yeah, if they're releasing like these virus, these things, out there, and then, oh, well, we got the allergies or whatever. But then if dogs are getting like these odd kind of things like tonsillitis, and so I don't know, but I swear to God that was viral, something, like for anybody who ever had it. I used to get laryngitis. I was born without tonsils, and which is an odd thing, I guess. So I don't know, but that's what I was told. I was born without tonsils, and so I don't get tonsillitis, but I would get laryngitis. I've always had these issues with my throat. I would get laryngitis all the time. Anytime anybody would get sick, I'd lose my voice. And then it wasn't, and then later when I was like super unhappy in my life and I was having a lot of issues, and they did one of those EGD things, like looking down into my throat, that then that's where they found like this pre-cancer stuff. And that was during when, and that's, where I can see, like when you're not facing things and you're just keep letting things go, you get sicker and sicker and sicker until you go towards what's good for you. How do you, do you want to be treated this way? And so it's like your body's telling you that you're not, like things need to change. And so anyways, I had the pre-cancer thing in my esophagus. And then so then later, and then, I had all these problems with my voice for so long. And, but then later when, I think it was an ENT doctor, and looked down through my nose, I think it was, and went down through my throat. Might have went through my mouth into my throat, I don't remember, but looked in, and I don't remember what my problem was I was having at the time. I had so many medical problems when I wasn't, and it's just, it's wild to me, at my age, I take nothing, nothing. And, especially coming from somewhere where I was like on 18 at the time. And so, whatever and I was sick all the motherfucking time, man. Like my body, my soul was telling me for a long time, you need to change. You need to change. And I didn't know. I mean, in the storyline that we're in, sickness is a part of it, and prescriptions is a part of it. So anyways, I was going through all of this sickness, and I went in and got checked, and that's when they looked in and they said, oh, well, you've got scar tissue on your voice box. That's why. And because I mean, I lose my voice really easy. So anyways, but then when I started doing this, it was a big part of my, because I think a part of my sickness was not living my truth, because as I was a kid, when I would speak up about things, I would always be like, no, you're crazy. No, you're crazy. And, so that like affects your throat chakra. But whatever you're coming in to deal with is something from a past life anyways. It's not just created in this life. It's just an extension, like I had said, of your pattern. It's like your lesson. And so my hair's driving me crazy. Which I did do the little curler rods last night, and I couldn't handle it. I made it an hour and then I had to take them out. So anyways, this morning I had to get my hair wet and blow dry it because it was whacked out hair. So yeah, those little rods, I was like, nope, can't do that. So, and the curling iron won't stay in, and I do like it curled, and no, I'm not gonna get a perm. But anyway, but it would be kind of cool if like we go to the med beds and we can make our hair just do what we want wherever, but we can't just go in the med beds all the time and do that. So, but if we had a high frequency thing of our own, there's got to be some way in our minds that we can do what we want. We just, if everything's going against us, to be able to do that or whatever. But anyway, so I was, it was a big part of this whole thing of me doing this, was like my throat chakra. It was speaking my truth and putting myself out there. as being, you know, what I believe. And because it's been my whole life of like, nope, nope, nope. And so anyways, but you know, I mean, it hasn't totally healed my voice, but then we also have the what is this, the allergies all the time, because I swear to God there was a period of time where my voice was more smoother. It wasn't so rocky or raspy or whatever. So and I would think, like, you know, once we go in the med beds, it probably heals the scar tissue and stuff like that. But anyways, yeah, that was my whole thing with the tonsillitis. Because yeah, I don't have tonsils, which is now I think, like, I bet you there's other people, other beings that also don't have tonsils, especially after I'd seen that girl from the military talking about, like, she was born, she didn't have wisdom teeth, something like that. Like, yeah, it was the wisdom teeth. And I've heard of that from other people too. And so when she went to the dentist and they were going to do this stuff, and then they said, well, you don't have any wisdom teeth. And then right away, the military was like, whoa, we're going to do this. We're going to, like, where it was obvious, like it was a part of like the search. We found one. And so, yeah, I think that there is different things, like, you know, that you're born with. It depends on where we come from, you know, and we just don't know all the stuff yet. So, yeah. Oh yeah, I was gonna say this too. Is I saw this video this morning, and I don't know, the light just seemed like it did something here, but it reminded me of this video I saw this morning where somebody was at their house and this light just went through their room. And I don't know if it was like sonic. I don't know if it was some kind of, I don't know, but I don't know. And I think it was maybe it was in their comments or it was on something else, but it said it's happening to more people. So I don't know. Watch for any lights traveling through your, because then it's like, is it something that is being done with the power, or is there, you know, visitation? You know, who knows what it is. I'll tell you what, my hair is like, so, anyways, but it is important to go and listen to your body. And so, you know, for a long time, I didn't listen to, you know, I kept on just trying to make things work in my relationships. And I was getting sicker and sicker and sicker. And so, yeah, sometimes we don't hear. But that's the thing, too, is you don't hear what you don't hear because it's a part of what you are here to learn. So it's not like you're ever messing up or making a mistake. It'd be a part of what you understand later. And so, yeah, it gives you a more understanding on some of this stuff, you know, when you start recognizing, you know, that you're not listening and how bad things got from not listening. And so, but at some point I did. But also, though, when I'm honest with myself, it wasn't me. It was like, I kept on, this is the thing, and, you know, I even was saying this to my daughter the other day, like, I just will keep trying and keep trying and keep trying, thinking I can make it better, thinking I can make it better. And, but then there's just relationships where you just got to be like, no, this isn't, you know, I got to go. And the last one, the one that was my turning point, was they left me. And so, you know, that's a part of my own self that I have to face too, is like, God, look at what you will put up with. And you just keep trying and keep trying and keep trying. It's like, why? Why don't you value yourself more? Why don't you care more about yourself? Why do you let people treat you this way? And so, and that's what led me into the dark night. So I was definitely pushed out, pushed into, to me, it felt like I was pushed off a merry-go-round. Like my life had been a merry-go-round, And I just kept going and going and going. And then all of a sudden I got pushed off. And once I fell, and I could see all this in my head too. And once I fell off and I was down on the ground and it hurt. I kept feeling like my knees were skinned and stuff. And could look up and I could see the merry-go-round. And all of a sudden I could see my own patterns of behavior. I could recognize this other thing that I couldn't recognize when I was on the ride. But once I was off of it and I could look at it, then I could see. And that's the stuff that I try and talk about, is this recognition of your own patterns of behavior. And how do you change? How do you change your life as you change you? It's like you can't expect other people to change and make your life better. You're the only one who can. And that's this whole thing of like where they want to sell you a savior. You don't need a savior. You need you to start recognizing your own patterns and start making the change, to prioritize yourself, to see the value of you, and to make the choices that are best for you. And then even when you start going and making the choices that are good for you, then you have the powers, the unseen powers, that they will fuck with you. And they'll keep trying to bring you back down and bring you back down and keep whispering in your ear, trying to beat you down and make you feel bad about yourself. And then you got to remember that at the times where you did feel bad about yourself, you accumulated dark energy. It surrounded you and it doesn't want to let go of you. And I was in a dark place. I was in a lot of dark places for a long time. And so, yeah, trying to get these parasites off of me, to leave it, to let me be and let me move on with my life, is a struggle. And the things that I do in order to do that is like play music, dance, turn on the light, like try and bring myself up. And I know lots of people have different ideas and try these things and ceremonies and all sorts of stuff. But yeah, you got to have whatever you decide to do, is you got to have the awareness of like, well, when you're down in the dumps and you're in the dark, you have got yourself accumulated. You've accumulated a lot of dark energy. And that dark energy lives off of you. It lives off of your emotional spikes. It lives off of your down and dirty, your dump of feeling like shit. And it's parasitic, and it lives off of your emotions, and it doesn't want to let go of you, and it wants to kick you anytime, every time it gets an opportunity, it wants to kick you. And it's, you have to recognize the spiritual battle, and you have to recognize your own value, and you have to recognize that you need to be the one that pulls yourself up and out of it. You got to pull yourself up out of these dark holes. You got to climb up and out, no matter how much it pains you. That's the way out, is you saving you. It's like somebody comes and digs a hole, throws you in it, and starts throwing the dirt on top of you. It's up to you to get yourself out of it. And nobody's going to come run up and save you. It's up to each and every one of us. And that part of the game, though, is to recognize what the game is, what you're playing here. And so that's the game I see. That's how I see it. And yeah, I've been in the dark. I've been in the dumps a lot of times. I've accumulated a lot of dark energy. And I've talked about it several times, that the battle that I have in order to fight free, to get free. I mean, they do fucking fuckery. Like I've said. They'll fucking throw knives at me sometimes. They'll have knives sticking up. To me, I start being like, you gotta be so mindful. You gotta be paying attention, man. They constantly knock shit out of my hands. They just want to keep you frustrated. And that's why I say they do things to the dogs. They get the dogs all riled up, and because they know, I mean, that's one thing that Ruthie has shown me crystal clear, is my weaknesses. Is like, she has shown me parts of myself, like, especially when you go through a lot of this healing and you think like, oh, I'm doing good. Get yourself a Ruthie, and then she'll show you all your holes. She'll show you like, oh, are you really? And so yeah, she's shown me like where thought I was doing so good with my patience and stuff. Oh, she gets me rattled. So yeah, anyways, but that's what the different beings and people that come into your life is, to show you, is so you can see yourself more clearly. And a lot of people don't like to see themselves. And so they do fucked up shit. So anyways, but that's the way out, is to see yourself and pull yourself up out of there and learn how to love yourself, because that is key to the whole thing. You got to learn how to love yourself. And in a world where we're taught to hate ourselves and hate everybody else, it is a journey, and it's a tough journey, and you will be battling unseen forces. So yeah, but learn how to love yourself, learn how to love everybody else, because that's the world we want to live in, the world where we all feel accepted, and we don't feel, our world isn't driven by hate and division anymore. So we got to learn how to love everybody, and then we got to learn how to focus. What do we focus on? Do we focus on our trauma, or do we realize that it was there to help us become a better person? So anyways, it all depends on how you look at things, is what your life is all about. And so it's this is a time for an evolution. This is a time to start reevaluating and looking at things different. So anyways, we'll see what the offering is today. I'm sure there's going to be some spectacles of ridiculousness and absurdity out there as a part of the show. And still we're right on the edge of, something spectacular happening, something big, something bigger than any of us can even perceive, I think. And even though we came here knowing it, that's the thing. That's the thing you got to keep reminding yourself. I came here knowing that this shit was going to happen. I came here to experience this shit. So just remind yourself of that when things get tough. But anyways, but we'll be back and we'll talk about it again tomorrow. And then we'll go live again on Saturday afternoon. And we maybe you'll do it more like 2 my time instead of 1. So, because there's a lot of people in Europe who like to come. So anyways, yeah, it's fun to go in and chat with everybody. So anyways, but I'll be back in the morning. We'll talk about whatever BS we go through today. And then Saturday we'll be live so everybody can talk to each other. So I'll talk to you later. Bye.